Jen.
Hey, everyone.
I wish that we edit the podcast, obviously, but the beginning part is what you don't hear or see, which is us counting down. And every single time it makes me laugh. Because it's like the beginning of a play.
It's like a rolling picture, you know?
Yeah.
It's a production.
Sorry, I forgot to say who it is. Hi, it's Shanika and Caitlin with Get Checkered. And Get Checkered is part of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. Today, we get to shout out a fellow podcaster on our that's on our network. If you haven't already, go check out Don't Call Me a Guru by Linda Huang. You can learn more about social media and all the brilliant people that work in the space from her great podcast. She's also a great human being. I've done some stuff with her from my startup, so great person all around. And for all the other podcasts on the Alberta Podcast Network, head to albertapodcastnetwork.com. Yeah.
Very cool. That sounds good.
Yeah. So Caitlin, how's life? How have things been?
Okay.
A week.
Right? Yeah, what a week. It's raining a lot today in Vancouver. Dreary day. I did get I was out on my bike a few times this week. So that's nice. It's like, I don't know. Am I getting weak? It's cold in Vancouver, but it's still like +3 degrees.
You might be becoming a Vancouverite if
it hurts a little bit.
That's because it's hard and cold.
I do have, and this is just going to be me on a rant for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you guys. But like, I've spent the entire day trying to figure out like COVID requirements and travel because, like I said, like on earlier podcasts, I had COVID over New Year's.
Yeah.
And so I'm booked to go down to the States at the end of February for my spring break. I'm going to Palm Springs. And like, if COVID can stay in your system for 90 days, I'm going to test positive on a PCR and I'm not going to be allowed on a plane. Or like, even worse, I somehow get to Palm Springs and then I test positive on the PCR test to come back into Canada. And like, that would suck.
Yeah.
And like, also part of the problem is BC right now isn't doing PCR tests for free unless you're like working in a healthcare system.
Yeah.
So I have to pay $195 to get a PCR test just to get it in the system so I can go to the airline and be like, yeah, I have like my positive test was like more than 14 days ago. But I do not want to have to pay $195. And I'm like, so what can I do? Like, honest to God, I didn't even self-report when I got COVID because in Alberta,
there's
PCR
like
tests were
way less testing.
There's a PCR test there too. So I just like, I didn't even test positive on the rapid antigen. I just knew that I had night sweats. I had the bad cough. I had a fever. And then 4 people from the same dinner party tested positive. So yes, okay, I had COVID. I am not worried about that. I know the fact I had COVID, but it's not recorded anywhere. And now am I going to get like bit in the butt and have to pay $200 because of that?
It's like, it's so challenging right now, but it's exciting. That's crazy that you're thinking about like you're planning, hopefully 99% going in February. Cause I literally texted my other girlfriends, Miranda and all of them asking, do y'all want to go to Palm Springs?
Nice.
Not in February, but I was like, just sometime between April and June. I was like, maybe not June because it's a little hot. Like, we're trying to figure it out because I was like, I think Palm Springs is the play, you know, like a few of us golf. So it's a great place to golf. There's also like hiking, like there's stuff to do.
And it's like warm.
Yeah, and it's warm. So who are you going with? What I mean, ideally, if you can get on the plane, who are you going with?
Get on the plane. I'm going to go with my friend Jen Hayward. Shout out to Jen. So like, it was supposed to just be like a fun week, and I'm just like so stressed out about it. So like, I don't actually want to be stuck there for like 14 days because that's going to be so expensive too.
Right. We get screwed by the dollar too up here. So the conversion rate is not great.
It's so rough. I honestly, like, I've been on the phone with Alberta 811 and I wait for like an hour to talk to someone and they're like, oh, you're not physically in Alberta right now, even though you have your Alberta healthcare card. You can't call us, like, we can't give you advice. You have to call BC HealthLink. And I'm like, thanks for that. Even though like I had COVID when I was in Alberta, but thank you. Okay, so I tried the BC peoples and they're like, well, yeah, we're not doing PCR tests for travel. I'm like, so it's just so painful. And like the amount of people that have Omicron and
Yeah.
want to be traveling over spring break, like, can they get their shit together? Like, figure out what we can do, because there's going to be so many people, or they're just going to make a shit ton of money, which, capitalism.
Other problems. It's capitalism for sure. I mean, I hope they figure it out in time for you to tell me what to do for when
Right, right.
Palm Springs. I need to and hopefully y'all, my right now, like the beginning steps of a trip actually happened, because I haven't been on an airplane in a very long time. I did travel during COVID. I did. I went to Vancouver though, and some of it was work related. So I just wanted to go somewhere. Yeah.
You
Anyway.
deserve it. It's been a few years, Shani.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess like sort of speaking of work, I have a bit of a life update that's been kind of going on for like 4 months, but
Yes, share.
Sure. I have exited my startup. So for those who don't know, I ran a startup for like 3 years, 3-ish years, called Bessie, that worked in agriculture and in food. And I made the decision to leave in like November, but it wasn't public because we are like, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, like all that kind of stuff, making sure the right people know, all that. Just it's way more work than anyone thinks it is. So though my friends have known, my family's known, and like coworkers and stuff, because obviously I have a new gig, no one else has really known. So this is like the first place where I'm gonna update it. And by the end of the week, if any of you have me on LinkedIn, which would be weird, it'll be updated everywhere. That yeah. So it's exciting.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. There's probably more stuff tied to Vessi coming up, but I just am not responsible for it. So I will be playing support if needed, but I don't think it will be. Right now, though, I'm doing something really cool. I work as an advisor at Platform, so helping founders and startups literally across the world just build really great companies. And I started consulting with another great e-commerce startup. So yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. And also, Caitlin, I didn't even tell you, but like your girl's a hot commodity. I've been offered a couple of jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, yo, very
And
good.
I'm like, yeah, but I'm not taking anything too like intensive right now, because some of them are at startups and some of them I'm just like, I need to chill. I need to be like anti-startup, for like a couple months to a year, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Because we also know, you guys, Shanika's literally studying for a GMAT too. So
yeah,
it's not an easy thing.
I'm trying to go to grad school, y'all. So it's kind of difficult, to be honest, to work like startup-y hours when you're also studying hours out of a day. So Platform is like the right place right now, and I like the work that I'm doing. So it's good. It's good.
Very good. And like you guys, for the past 3 years, like we've seen Shanika literally like run off her feet with Bessie. So it's nice that she's able to just like it ended successfully, and it's really good to see you just come out the other side. So
thank you so much. I'm also excited to just like relax a little bit. Also working on other things too, obviously, but to like not have the daily grind is kind of nice. But we'll see. There's always like problems. If I had my way, I would get checkered into a startup like right away. Caitlin's face.
See, I would have to lean heavily on Shanika for that.
I did also want to mention, Caitlin, if you're looking for something to watch, so I finished all of Too Hot to Handle, which was good for like brain dead nothing, just, and also this season the people are just so horrible, like they just had
I haven't seen the new season.
Yeah, they just did not give a shit about each other and just kept like breaking rules.
Yep.
But what was even better is Cheer on Netflix. They're back for a second season. Okay. And I don't know, did you watch the first one?
No.
What?
I know. I don't know. I tried watching the first episode and I just couldn't get into it. I'm like, maybe another time. And it's just never happened.
Okay, well, this is now another time to try. You have like 20 episodes or something to get through now. But anyways, they came back for a second season. There's like a new competitor that they cover a little bit more. I also think how there was a lot of scandal tied to Cheer. Did you ever
I did see all the news articles.
Yeah, so I found that they handled what happened with one of the players. He did something really, really horrible with minors, and it's just like really grotesque things. But they handled it really well. They did an entire episode just dedicated to the kids, the actual victims. So I think they did a good job in putting a face to everything. So I was really curious to see how they handled that, and I think they did a really good job. So if anyone's interested, those are my two little recommendations of things that kind of like waste your time, but are fun, just don't have to worry.
I don't, to be honest, I have not watched one TV episode since being here for like a month.
Are you serious? What are you doing all day?
Like, just honestly on the computer doing, I feel really bad if I'm not doing papers like readings or homework. But I'm reading a lot. And then just kind of wandering like aimlessly around Amazon a lot. That's fine. But yeah, the speaker on my TV, you guys, doesn't work. So I'm kind of like could get it fixed, but that's effort. And then it's like I don't want to go through the effort of like hooking stuff up to like external speakers. So I'm just not watching TV.
But like you could watch it on your laptop, you could watch Netflix on your
It's
phone.
not the same experience as on the TV, Shani.
Okay, this is really interesting. She's giving me like a very like film kid take right now, but I'm like fully like watch everything on a laptop, like I don't care. And you're like, no, I need to watch a TV.
Yeah, I want to like sit down on the couch and like there's the show. And also, by the way, my cats they're so bad. They keep peeing on one of the couches. Like I don't know what has gotten into them or like why they started to pee on a couch, because that's never happened before.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to get like a cleaner to come and whatever she does to the couch. So hopefully they stop, and then I will sit on that couch again.
Why are they doing that? Naughty kitties.
No idea. I'm like, and it's always Clover. It reeks, right? Like cat pee is.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, that's not good.
I'll try and get it fixed for Shanika to come out to Vancouver in July.
Yeah, I'm like, please. Maybe I don't know, maybe Clover will be like, wow, my aunt's back, things are normal, and we'll feel happy again.
Right, she'll feel loved again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with her, but maybe it's just like they're almost a year old. They probably have one more month before they're a year old. So I know. So maybe it's just something's happening this month for her, but whatever. Anyways.
I also had like one question for our listeners that isn't tied to and maybe Caitlin, you have some answers here, because I don't have any that isn't tied to anything that we do on a regular day. But I am trying to hit my protein macros. I know I sound like a gym girly, but yes, I'm trying to be a gym girly. Like I'm just trying to grow my muscles, and that's just where I'm at right now. And I am struggling because I love eating food. Okay. Mm-hmm. You want me to eat something, I can do it. I need to make it clear. I don't track anything else. Like I don't track carbs. I don't track anything. The only thing I try to like keep in the back of my mind is like grams of protein per what I'm eating. That's all. The other stuff is just a little too sketchy for me. It makes me a little nervous. But I cannot, like, I just don't understand how you can hit your macros if you're trying to eat like 130 grams of protein a day without having a protein shake. And protein shakes taste gross. Okay. I don't care what anyone says. I think they taste gross. Okay.
Okay. Well, I can recommend you some good protein like shake stuff, because that is going to be the best way. Or just like eat a full chicken. People just like boil chicken and eat a full breast.
That sounds so disgusting.
But that's why like people don't do that all the time, right? Like that's why you see people cutting and bulking. Like when they cut, they'll be eating that and broccoli, right?
Which is so depressing.
But it doesn't have to last forever, because you want to do the bulking on the other half and just eat as much as everything possible. But
so what protein powder do you have? Because
so I use the one from Costco, and it's the plant-based one, and it's vanilla flavor. And honestly, I can just put it with water and I'm happy with that.
You need to send me a photo, because I've had like the pantry is like a grave of forgotten protein powders. My lovely friend Mary, I love you so much, but she recommended this like birthday cake one, which she's been able to like bake into things, and I'm like, good for you. I cannot drink it. Like it is just, it's so sweet, makes me want to like throw up. Um, and then I have this other one from Vega, which Canadian company. So it was like, oh, I'm going to support
Mhm.
the dude. And I actually was on like in a session with the guy and he's like super great. So I was like, oh, this is so great. I fucked up. I got the French vanilla flavor and it's like not good. It's not good. I'm having a hard time like blending it with anything either for smoothies because that French vanilla-ness just like doesn't work that well.
Interesting.
I have ordered though and I've liked it so far. The Alani new, they have a fit shake thing, and they're like one that tastes like cookies and cream, and it's actually not bad. Yeah, so if I'm just looking for alternatives, so just send me a photo of your protein powder, Caitlin.
I will.
I
Yeah.
will
And also like you can buy those protein bars from Costco. And you can buy like I eat Lara bars. They're not the best in protein though, but I just like them more. But you
I
can buy
agree.
those
I
like
like them too.
I don't know. They're like bottles this tall. Now you may have to take like lactose pills with them.
That's the issue too, because we could have better tasting protein if we both weren't lactose intolerant. You
I
know what I
know
mean?
we can't do the whey shit.
No, I would be
So
insane.
but like you can buy the I don't know what they're called, pure protein or something, and you can buy them and they're almost a milk consistency, which is why I think you would have to take a pill. But those are huge in protein and they're very tasty actually.
Oh my god,
You
these are
can buy them by like the flat.
things. Oh Lord. Anyways,
Yeah.
this is my
I'm interested to know what people suggest you though.
yeah, I want to know. People tell me in terms of dietary restrictions, I just can't have dairy, but everything else I pretty much eat. So just tell me
Mhm.
what I should do.
Fair, fair. Okay, we are going to get into headlines and actually the story of Sergio Perez in this episode, you guys.
Yeah, I'm
We're
excited
just
for
going to
this.
go through a quick ad break though. So do you have cold dress or flickering lights? And where's that leak coming from? If you've ever wondered what's really going on in your home, Rumi's Ask a Home Inspector service can help. Connect with a certified professional home inspector by phone or video call and get your questions answered. Rumi will let you know it's easily fixable with a little DIY or when you might need to call in some professional help. So visit rumi.ca, that's RUMI.ca, and book your Ask a Home Inspector appointment today.
Bam. All right. So
Cool.
talking about the headlines from this week, there are quite a few, so bear with us, please. Uh, anyways, so the first one I came across was from Express. And I did have some questions because I will be the first to say I do not know anything about UK media. So it's hard to tell like what is actual news versus like what's a tabloid. So I'm sorry if Express is like a tabloid in the UK. We know that a third of you are listening from there. So I'm sorry if this is not a legitimate news source. I don't know. Okay. But it basically talked about just the continued Lewis retirement rumors. But this article was interesting because there was a direct quote from Christian Horner. So he said, and I'm quoting the article who quoted him, he doesn't want Lewis to retire, but at the end of the day, he, meaning Lewis, needs to make the right choice for himself. And I thought that was like kind of nice. He also said in the article that like Lewis last year, both him and Max were driving in the league of their own. Like it would be a loss to have him not be there, but you know, he's got to do what he needs. Um, yeah, that's the only reason I mentioned it is just because there's a quote from Christian. But other than that, like we still haven't heard anything.
I saw like one article today was like, oh, Lewis was seen around Los Angeles taking pictures with fans today. They're like, oh, his first time out. I'm like, I don't think it's his first time out, but like first time I've actually seen him come up in like recent news. So I don't know. He's still just taking time to himself, I guess.
Yeah, and as he should, honestly, because I think we're all kind of it's probably just Formula One out. So that's not a bad thing. The next headline is tied to Formula E, which started its season at the Diriyah.
I think so. It's in Saudi Arabia, yeah.
Yep. Pretty cute. They have two races on their opening weekend. So the Nick DeVries, Toto Wolff's like next protege. Do we call him that? Can we call him?
I don't know, right? Like in my opinion, he's good enough to be in Formula One, and the fact that he's not there is kind of like, you guys.
It's kind of like not enough teams, not enough money. Like we know.
Yeah.
So he came in first at the first race, and then Eduardo Mortera took the W for the second race. Also, that's important to note that this race, there was that accident that happened that seemed to be like pretty spicy. I saw on Twitter, people were like, apparently there was a safety car, just things were taking a long time. People weren't very happy with the safety car. Anyways, congrats to the winners.
Yep.
We'll just take it to that. As you all know, Giovinazzi has moved to Formula E, and Caitlin made the lovely point. She's the brilliant mind that took all the notes today. That he came right at the bottom, which is kind of unfortunate. So for race 1, he was at the very bottom of those who finished because there was 2 DNFs, which was likely, was it the accident? I can't remember. And then at race 2, he was 1 racer from the bottom, which sucks. As we know, even in Formula 1, Gio was placing higher than this. Like, I feel like mostly
It
because
was like 13th, 14th,
yeah, and
not 19th, 20th.
yeah, it's not great, but hey, we'll give him time to get used to the car, like everyone else always says. For racefans.net, it was only 2 days of running in Formula E, sorry, at Valencia late last year prior to the opening race. So again, we'll give him some time. And he said, and I quote, "It was really difficult, really hard." Oh. Okay, why do we think it's like that? Is it just because it's the way that the cars are set up or just different?
I think so. And also it was I definitely closed down the tab, but he was saying like something about in Formula One, like at least you get feedback and like onboards or something. And like apparently so that's different in Formula E. Plus like the whole like you're having to charge your battery and stuff. So like playing with that, you have to get used to. And like they just have different stuffs going on in Formula E that I can understand why having only 2 times really in the car. And like one time I think it's even in a simulator. So I don't even think it was on the track. So yeah, he said it was a very steep learning curve. And I'm like, I hope you can make it up that mountain soon and understand it. But
and I guess Caitlin and I will find out in person because we will be going to Formula E in July
2nd to 4th.
So Canada,
just after Canada Day.
There we go. The next headline is from ESPN, and it said the possibility of Michael Massey could be replaced as Formula One director. Again, I don't know. So I actually got the tip from one of my coworkers. He sent, we have a little group chat going with all the Formula One fans, and he like sent it and was like, "What the hell's going on?" I was like, "I don't know." So according to FIA's singer-seater director, I don't know what that means. I don't know.
It should be single-seater director.
There we go.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Sorry.
No, I don't think that's you. That was me. Peter Bayer said, and again, I'm quoting, "Michael has done a great job in many ways. We definitely don't want to lose him. We told him that, but also that there is a possibility that there will be a new race director. I can only make proposals to the World Council, and they will definitely include Michael." And like everything else tied to the FIA, I don't know what that means. So it could mean that like, is he proposing that the roles change a little bit, some new roles, like we know the one of the team principals not being able to contact the director, like those things. Is it just breaking it up more so there isn't just so much pressure on him, which is actually something that's noted here. I don't know. Or is it just him saying, yeah, like we'd like Michael working within this team, but maybe not being the race director. Like, I don't know what that looks like. So again, the FIA just not being clear. And this actually isn't written down, but the FIA also this week announced, basically tied to the investigation of Abu Dhabi. Like they basically said nothing. That's why I didn't want to say it, but I feel like we should. They didn't say anything. It was basically like, okay, yeah, we're going to release the findings later. And I'm like, great. Thank you for nothing. Anyways, I just think that they're a bad organization. I'll say it. Okay, I'll say it.
I think that they don't know what they're doing. And like that happens in life, but like they're under a spotlight right now. So it's just like it's showing up. And it looks really bad that like when you are the guiding regulators of something and you don't know what to do, and like you're not being that transparent or like honestly that fast. Like it feels like it still has to go through so much bureaucracy to make decisions in the FIA
100%,
for like what happened here. And it's just like that's that's also, I think, what's contributing to people losing faith in the FIA. So like they're kind of biting themselves in the ass.
And bureaucracy is a big problem at a lot of organizations. So not just the
Yeah.
FIA, but it always ends up being the issue, even at like well-known companies. It makes them slow and makes them not able to work quickly to fix problems. And in this case, work through an investigation that, frankly, the entire world is looking at to try and decipher what will the outcome be. So, anyways, on another note, a lighter note, a more interesting note, our boy Kimi is back doing
Of
things.
course he
Okay.
is. Of course he is.
So he became the team principal of Kawasaki Motocross Squad following his retirement. As you all know, we all knew he wasn't going to leave racing forever, as much as he was like, I'm glad I don't have to do this anymore. I wonder if he meant like he was glad he doesn't have to deal with the press anymore, just being up in his business. But now it's just changed. So he will run the team alongside his long time motocross collaborator, Finnish former driver. Oh God, Antti.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. Pierre Honen.
Yeah, Pierre Honen. There we go. And he said, it's no secret that for me, one of my greatest passions in life for many years has been motocross, but this team is not what you might call a hobby. It's very serious, very focused, and we aspire to be the best we possibly can. Now that I've retired from racing, I will be able to spend more time on this project, not on the daily issues, but more from a strategic point of view, using my experience of how teams work and what creates success on the world stage.
I'm astonished how Kimi got that many words out.
Okay, do you think they actually said it though? I think fair, because I don't know if he actually said it. There wasn't a clip tied to the article that I saw on Formula One's website. So it could have easily been like a press release that like his press person put out and like wrote, you know what I mean? Or the team, the Kawasaki team put out. And in that case, a lot of the time people, like, I hate to break the facade, but a lot of the time it's just the PR person is writing the quote for the
and then gives it to the news peoples.
Yeah, and you might
Gotcha.
like, and depending how closely the PR person is to the person that they're quoting, they might not even show like Kimi what they said and just hand it over in the press release to the journalist. So who knows? It does.
Honestly, it sounds like someone wrote it for him. It does. Like Kimi would not be saying this.
It's a lot of.
The one thing I can believe him saying is like, maybe not a, like, and he wouldn't even say, you might not call a hobby. It's very serious. He'd be like, well, I'm spending more time on it. Yeah. Right? Like it would be, I don't know, he would just turn it around so it doesn't sound so formal.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. My next two sort of news topics, they aren't headlines per se, are tied to races and race locations. So Formula One is in advanced talks to hold a race in Las Vegas. Lord, why? First, okay, we'll just go through the stuff and then discuss it later. So apparently F1 execs have visited the area in recent months while communicating with the Nevada governor, Steve Sisolak, I don't know, and the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority and whatever stakeholders are tied to it. Of course, as we know, Formula One has been increasing the amount of races, and in 2022, there will be 23 races on the calendar, which is like, okay. And if this race were to go through, it would be the third race on American soil, obviously being, we have Austin, Texas, Miami, which we know is coming in 2022, and potentially now Vegas.
Like
Caitlin.
Vegas has had the street race before as a one-off, right? Yeah. And I remember like on Reddit today, I was seeing some people were like, oh, what do you think the street, like the Las Vegas street track could look like if you want to include the strip? And they're like, yeah, but this isn't a very good track. Like this isn't great. So I'm like, interested to see how that would work. Cause like, honestly, that would be pretty spectacular if you're on the strip and you get to see F1. Like,
and if it's a street race, I am like definitely into that.
But also Nevada has so much land where they probably could just put like a purpose-built track in, right, but it wouldn't be as fun, in my opinion. So I
completely agree. Actually, the in Las Vegas they do have a speedway. The only reason I know this is because I went to EDC, which was held at
nice, fair, yeah.
But it's like also the thing is with that one, it's in the middle of nowhere, so then you have to like figure out transportation, and for something as large as Formula One, they can coordinate EDC, so I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to figure out. But I agree. I think a street race would be cool. But I'm also like, how many races do these people want to put on?
Well, I think Drive to Survive has made a lot of places put applications in. Like everyone wants to get on to the F1 train, seeing how popular it's becoming. But it's like these guys are already exhausted with however many races they have right now. So what is FIA going to do? Like, do they have to start rotating races, which could be interesting for fans?
Yeah.
Maybe it could be interesting for the drivers. It would be harder for the drivers, I think. But
That's actually a very good point. I didn't even think about that. They just need to come up with a schedule that makes sense, and that may mean that these countries sign contracts with you or cities sign contracts with you, but they're on the contract states that they're like every other year or whatever. Because also people may not know this, but in around here in Alberta, we actually do have a track that is in phase whatever of being built.
Oh yeah.
That's built for Formula One. So it could actually have like Formula One racing.
That's wild.
If they wanted to host it there, which is absolutely insane. It's actually not too far from the city. So it's like super, anyways. Calgary hasn't thrown its hat in, but we actually have infrastructure that can make it happen here, which is
interesting.
So weird. The next headline tied to racing is that Singapore got a 7-year contract extension. I feel like this throws everything we just said about alternating years or like switching things up into mayhem. So the race will be held in Singapore, the night race, obviously, until 2028. For right now, who knows, they might extend it longer. But the race was canceled the past 2 years because of COVID, and it will be on the calendar for October 2nd, 2022. So I don't know. I like night races. They look cool. But
and doesn't it usually mean like better time for us?
Yeah, everything that's in Asia usually, is like typically a better time for us. Yeah. Middle East, it's a little hairy, and then the more we come over, the more it's like, oh dear God. And the last headline is tied to our boy Danny Rick. Okay, Danny was appointed a member of the Order of Australia for significant service to motorsport as a competitor, ambassador, and to the community. Oh, so he kind of got knighted? Is this like their version of being knighted?
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
It's cute.
Congrats to him.
Yeah. Because there's a few other people I think that got it this year, but yeah, it's like for our equivalency, like we have the Order of Canada.
Yeah. What do we got to do to get that?
Right.
I would love to get that. What do we do?
Contribution to motorsport. We'll make it net zero.
We will be the ones instead of Jacques Villeneuve. Like we will get it over.
Obviously.
Oh my God, I love that.
So yeah, no, that's a big honor. So congrats to Danny Rick on that one.
Yeah, I want to know who I'm sorry, this is getting gossipy, but just because we know he has like a secret girlfriend, and we're not owed anything out of any of these people's lives. Okay, we are not. But like, was his girlfriend there? I don't know. I want to know.
Who knows? We'll never know. We'll never know.
Hope his mom also came.
Right. I don't know how the ceremony went, but
yeah, it's good to see. Anyways, for the rest of the podcast, we're going to talk about one of many Aquariuses, apparently.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to start this section off with an apology because I don't know where I got my information from, or I don't know why it was in my head that we only have one Aquarius on the grid, because we don't even have two, we have three. So I don't know, and I'm like going back through our notes, and like Shanika and I made like a pinwheel of like who's in each Aquarius, who's in each horoscope, I mean, and like yeah, we definitely always had these three in the part of the pie graph. Like, I don't know why I thought it was just George.
I don't know.
Right? It's just like, I was so focused, but maybe it's going to turn out for the best, because like each of these three racers, so George, Sergio, and his Pierre Gasly is the other Aquarius, like they're each gonna we're gonna give Pierre some time in next episode. So each one of them, like they have substantial stuff we can talk about in these episodes, which is nice. Instead of like Danica and I were looking at if we could fit both Pierre and Sergio into this episode, and there was a lot of information. So
yeah, I was typing up notes on Pierre, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna give myself an hour, like just type what you can in an hour. But then I was like, this guy's career's like, there's some really interesting like pockets of stuff. And before I knew it, I was like, nope, this is too long. So stay tuned for that one. That will
So
come.
his birthday is Feb 7th, I think I saw it. So literally we're going to be recording like on his birthday, which I think is fit. So
Yeah.
Sergio's birthday was January 26th. So hence why we're doing that right now. I literally like we did the episode and then people were like posting happy birthday Sergio stuff. And I was like, oh shit.
I know, I saw that on Twitter and I was like, it's not his birthday, is it? And I was like, oh shit, it's his birthday.
Yeah. Maybe did not get that right.
I don't
But you know
know.
what?
Whoops.
We'll double check next time before the season starts. Anyways, okay, you guys, time for some Sergio Perez. And I just hope I do Nicole proud.
I was thinking about that. I was like, if we had planned a little bit better, we could have invited her on and she could have spoken her like how much she loves about it. She just loves him so much. Biggest Checo fan.
He has a very interesting career. So he is a 1990 baby, so he just turned 32.
Are we part of the same generation as him then?
Yep. Yep, we're millennials.
He's a millennial.
That's millennial. 1990s millennial.
I know it's
not that old,
but it's not. It just feels like he's so much older than us, and I don't know why.
I know it kind of looks like he would be like mid 30s, but he's not.
All right, sunscreen.
Anyways, yeah. So he was born in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Oh, beautiful.
Actually, before I get into his career, I found some fun facts for redbull.com. They're like 11 things you want to know about our newest Red Bull. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's find them out. So Shanika, you're getting into golf. He is a keen golfer.
Love it.
Yeah, you can next time when you do finally get to talk to him, just bring that up and you two can have a great conversation.
Talk about golf and how horrible I am at it.
It'll be fun. Or maybe just like go on a course like him, Lando, Carlos. You'd have a great time.
So that they're like true. If I can have fun, like I think it's fine. You know, if they're expecting like me to be good, we got problems. We got
a few years, okay? It's fine. So Checo wrote off his first road car. So I guess like it was passed down from his two older siblings to him, and then he crashed it. So they had to write off his first road car.
Yikes.
Whoops. Checo checks the stock market daily. He said like he checks every morning, like CNN Business or something to see how stocks are doing. So another thing you can talk to him about. I've actually heard this story before, but they said like he left his wallet in Christian's office, and it was actually after being invited around to Christian Horner's house for dinner. I think after he was kind of invited to join the Red Bull fam, he left his wallet behind, and it became a story and a funny thing, and they laugh about it now. Just don't leave your wallet in your boss's office. I think that's a pretty solid life lesson to learn from that. He said Madrid feels like his home away from home. When he does retire, he said he wants to spend some time in Guadalajara, but I feel like Madrid's probably like
his home base.
Well, someplace like he could spend a lot of time too when he's retired. Checo's could have had a very different career if he was not an F1. He said he'd be a banker or a lawyer. I'm having a hard time speaking today, and I don't know why, but we'll get over that.
Fine.
Whatever.
I think it's just interesting that he picked a lawyer and banker, like out of everything in the world. Right. It's very normal thing.
It is. It's kind of refreshing. No one wants to do normal stuff.
Right.
But we do need normal stuff in the world. So
keeps everything
right. So in terms of soccer, or as like everywhere else in the world calls it football, LA Galaxy is Checo's other team. So this is due to the Mexican footballer Chicharito. So Javier Hernandez is actually Checo's good friend, and he plays for LA. So hence why Checo cheers for LA. So I guess the story behind their friendship is Chicharito is also from, am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, I think
Chicharito. It's Chicharito.
Chicharito,
I think so. It's from Guadalajara too. So he's like, so we have friends in common. When Checo had to move to Europe, to Manchester. No, when Chicharito moved to Europe to Manchester United, it was the same time that Checo started in Formula One. So it was very nice as we started our careers together, like at the premier levels, pretty much.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, so it was cute. Checo does have his own charity. It's called the Checo Perez Foundation. So started that in 2012, and it is to help strengthen vulnerable groups, specifically children. One of the interesting facts was he didn't have a role model growing up, and I'm like, what? And it's in regards to like racing idols, because I'm like, we saw how close he was to his dad. I'm pretty
it's
sure,
so
like,
awkward.
I know, I'm pretty sure you would say like your dad's your role model. So it's in regards to like who a racing idol would have been to him. Quite odd, but regardless. They also commented that Checo travels light, I guess. He's a very minimalistic traveler, and when he goes to the track and stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's good to be minimalistic sometimes.
I love, okay, we need to point this out. This isn't a list that we made up. It's a list that Red
No.
Bull, like official Red Bull.
Yeah, it's like published on their website. It's very interesting. So, and then also Checo, his footballing hero, inspired him to race as number 11. So, quote unquote, when I started in karting, there was a football player that was playing for Club America, the team I like. It was Ivan Zamorano. He is my idol and was wearing number 11, so it's very easy for me to choose that. So again, he has idols, just not a racing idol. Weird. Yeah, so those are some 11 fun facts about Checo. So we're going to get into his career. He started karting when he was 6 years old, so that seems like a very common age. So that was in 1996. So, and he karted until 2003, so like 13 years old. So in 2004, he went to the United States-based Skip Barber National Championship. He was sponsored by Mexican telecommunications company Telmex, and he finished 11th in that championship. 2005 is when he moved to Europe. He was in the German Formula BMW ADAC series, wherein he raced for 2 seasons. He finished 11th in the first year, 6th in the next year. So kind of like not starting it. Like when I was writing this down, I'm like, he's not like the George Russell that finished first, like everything, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So, and kind of like what I found out is like Checo's career kind of like, it takes a lot more bends and stuff and like creative ways to get where he is now.
That's good though, right?
It's very interesting. So that was 2005, 2006 with that BMW ADAC series. From 2006 to 2007, it was the A1 Grand Prix season. He raced a single round of that championship for A1 Team Mexico. So how that works is it's like 24 teams of each different nationality. So there were 62 drivers in total, and he was the 3rd youngest driver to take part in that series. Jesus. So he's a little bit, well, think of it. He was like 16, 17?
Yeah, he was a baby.
Yeah, so quite impressive. He switched to what was the British Formula 3 Championship in 2007. So I was trying to understand, like, okay, what's the difference between British Formula 3 and like FIA Formula 3? Well, the whole thing was like this British Formula 3 Championship was before the revival of the European F3 Championship. Oh, okay. And that's backed by the FIA, and that revival happened in 2012. And then, so the European F3 Championship merged with GP3 back in 2019 to form the current FIA F3 Championship. So kind of,
it's good to consolidate, but this is also very confusing.
I know. I guess I think I read that like one of the winners of the championship like was actually Danny Ricciardo in one of the years for this British championship. So
Danny,
right? And in 2007, with this British Formula Championship, I guess there's 2 like sub leagues or whatever categories. 2007, he was in what was called the national class. So in that class, they used an older chassis on the car, and he actually won the championship that year. But in 2008, second year with the British Formula 3, he was upgraded to the Premier International class, wherein he finished 4th, but he was leading in first. Early in the season, just kind of fell later on. So after that, he was on the Campos Grand Prix team in the 2008 to 2009 GP2 Asia Series. He partnered with Russian driver Vitaly Petrov. He was the first Mexican driver to compete at this level of motorsport since Giovanni Aioli took part in International Formula 3000 back in 1990. And fun fact is he won his first GP2 Asia Series race at Shakir. And we know, like, it just must have a special place in his heart because that's where he won his first F1 race as well.
Yeah, huge.
I forgot to preface all this information is from Wikipedia, you guys.
Yeah.
God bless Wikipedia.
For doing the work.
just had to get that in. So he moved to Arden International for the May 2009 GP2 series, and he was alongside fellow Formula 3 graduate Eduardo Mortara. So that's a nice little tie-in to the headline above with Formula E. Eduardo won literally race 2 of Formula E in Saudi Arabia yesterday. So cute little tie in there. Checo came in 12th for that series that year.
It happens.
Right. And the off season, he did 2 rounds of the 2009 to 2010 GP2 Asia Series for Barwa Addicts. So in that series, there was only 4 races. So 2 at Yas Marina and 2 in Shakir. He came in 15th out of 34 people, kind of mediocre, kind of.
Yeah, not great, not the best.
2010, he was with GP2 with Barwa Addicts as well. He won 5 races. He finished second in the standings behind Pastor Maldonado. Yep. And he also became a member of the Ferrari Driver Academy in October 2010.
Okay.
So Checo was with the Ferrari family for a little bit. So he then, from GP2, he entered Formula 1 in 2011. He was with Sauber and he replaced Nick Heidfeld. And he is the 5th Mexican to complete in Formula 1.
Huge.
Right?
Yeah.
So Perez finished 7th in his first race. It was the Australian Grand Prix. He impressed people. He literally, like, I wrote this down because it's like, he impressed people by stopping to change tires only once, when everyone else did a 2-stop strategy. And I'm like, wow, he has not changed.
Oh my gosh, he's been going long since 2011.
He showed it literally in his first race.
He can manage his tires.
So yeah, he got his first F1 points in his first year. He got it at the Spanish GP. He came in 9th. And then he had a heavy incident in Monaco qualifying. So he suffered a sprained thigh and a concussion, didn't take part in the race, and actually opted out of the following Canadian GP as well for not feeling well. So
I didn't know you could sprain your thigh.
Me neither, but I guess it's muscle. I don't know.
Yeah, and if he hit the car, like, who the hell knows what happens there? So, geez, not great.
I don't know what that would feel like either. I feel like it would not be fun.
No.
So yeah. Anyway, so in his first year in F1, he finished 16th in the Drivers' Championship. He had 14 points. Not bad.
Yeah.
And then on September 13th, Perez tested for Ferrari as part of the Ferrari Driver Academy in a Ferrari F60, so their car from the 2009 season. Perez conducted the test with fellow Academy member Jules Bianchi.
And Jules is Charles's godfather?
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at all these connections, y'all.
I know, right? I think Jules was a 1990 baby too.
Oh wow. Oh, that makes
me think. I'm literally looking up. He's a 1989 baby. So moving to the 2012 season, it started off well for Checo. At the Aussie GP, he fought Alonso for the win, actually. So like, he couldn't close the gap, ended up P2, but like that was the best independent result for Sauber. Plus, it's like literally his second year in F1 and he's fighting for a win.
Yeah, huge.
So I feel like, are we going to see something like that from like Yuki? Or so, I don't think we will. So it's like, is that the caliber it takes almost to like stay in F1 after a mediocre rookie season? I don't think so, because like, well, George Russell obviously didn't, but everyone knew that he was in the worst car.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, right? It's weird. I hope Yuki's allowed a bit more time, but
I also I'm curious to, oh, you haven't noted here, but we got to do a deep dive at some point on Sauber. Like, what happened to this Formula One team? How did it exist and then kind of like disappear a little bit and then exist sort of again?
That'd be a good story. The story of Sauber.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry, continue.
So okay, we're still in 2012. So The Canadian GP that year, he had a phenomenal race. He started 15th, ended up third. And then
Back
at
of the
the
pack, the front.
and then at
Jeez.
the Italian GP that year, Perez started the race on hard tires and changed to medium, unlike like everyone else. So it was noted like his car, like Perez and his car's outstanding tire management got him well into the points and ultimately to a podium finish. And people definitely noted that. And I'm just like, of course, it's with the tire management. Like it just ties in so well to what we know about Checo.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in 2012, he finished 10th in the Drivers' Championship. So moving on to 2013, he actually moved to McLaren. He was confirmed as Hamilton's replacement at McLaren, and that ended Perez's association with Ferrari as he was released from his driver academy. Jenson Button was his partner at McLaren. And he was not impressed with Perez. So he said of Perez's driving style after one of the races, like, I've had some tough fights in F1, but not quite as dirty as that.
Yikes.
I know we mentioned Kimi earlier, but even Kimi said that Perez should be punched in the face for like something
God.
he did. So Checo only had one season with McLaren team. He was replaced by Kevin Magnussen for the following year, and Checo went to, in 2014, Force India.
So just a question on the Ferrari front. He never then drove for Ferrari, hey?
No.
That's so shit. Like, could you imagine going through the driver academy for a team and then just not?
So he was only there for 3 years, right?
But then,
so
like,
I wonder,
years and just not driving for them? That sucks. Good God. Okay.
yeah,
Sorry.
I don't know. And I think like I can only kind of assume like if you go to McLaren, it's like a competitor, so that's why he was probably dropped from Ferrari.
Yeah, like you have to be released at that point, right?
Yeah, so it's a very interesting.
Or maybe back then they just didn't have the power to do what they did with Alex Albon, right? Because Christian Horner still has like
him in his like pocket.
Yeah, that they have like options basically at the end of 2023 to bring on Alex Albon.
Yeah, maybe.
So he drives for Williams. I don't know, but maybe that's like a newer thing that's been tied up into contracts. Who knows?
Maybe. So yeah, I don't know if there was drama associated with it or not, but yeah, he was released from his driver academy is all I found. But okay, going to Force India. So he partners with Nico Hulkenberg. And at the Bahrain Grand Prix, he was able to score Force India's first podium since 2009. The Austrian GP that year in 2014, Perez set his third fastest lap of his career, whilst also giving Force India the third fastest lap in their history. So he's like kind of showing up, right?
Yeah.
He's with them for 2015. He finishes the championship in 9th. So that's his highest championship position to date. He got 78 points, and he's there for 2016 too. Didn't know anything spectacular. 2017, Nico left, and his new teammate was Esteban Ocon. And 2017, I think, was the year those pink cars came in. Shanika made a TikTok about those pink cars.
I love the pink cars, the Pepto Bismol pink cars. And now that they're no longer a sponsor, it's like we'll never see them again. The era of the pink car, it'll never come back. Depressing.
You know what? It might. There's other pink brands out there.
Pepto Bismol, like literally Pepto Bismol.
It's not. It should. They may not be as pink, but whatever. So Checo came in 7th in the championship in 2017. 2018. It was kind of drama around Force India. So after the Hungary GP, Force India put into administration. It was caused by a group of creditors that included Perez taking legal action against the team. And then shortly before,
I really want to do an episode on Force India because the person that ran it is like quite the character. Like there's a lot of stuff that happened in this time period.
Yeah,
this team.
Like there's a lot more drama than what I'm just quickly running through. But
yeah, there's a ton.
Shortly before the Belgian Grand Prix that year, Force India's assets were purchased by a consortium of investors led by none other than Lawrence Stroll. And the team was readmitted into the championship as a new team called Racing Point Force India. And were allowed to race in the Belgian Grand Prix, keeping Perez and Ocon as their drivers. So Perez came 8th in the championship that year with 62 points, finished ahead of Esteban and being the only non-Mercedes, Ferrari, or Red Bull to finish on the podium that season.
Jesus.
Right. 2019, the team is Racing Point. He's joined at the team by former Williams driver Lance Stroll. Surprise! His father owns the team. And Perez finished the season in 10th place with 52 points. 2020, again with Racing Point, whom he was meant to continue racing with until the end of 2020, I hear. He tested positive. Yeah, right? I think that was the original contract and agreement, or understanding even. Perez, though, tested positive for COVID before the British GP and subsequently the 70th anniversary GP at Silverstone. So he didn't race in those. In September 2020, Perez announced that he would be leaving Racing Point at the end of 2020, as he would be replaced by Sebastian Vettel. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of support from the media for Perez, with the race saying that it would be a huge injustice for Perez not to be on the 2021 grid, and Martin Brundle suggested that Perez should be on Red Bull Racing's radar to partner Max in place of Alex Albon. Mm-hmm. We know what happened, but it's just interesting looking back on that. Perez then, because that happened in September, it was announced he'd be leaving Racing Point. So December 2020 at the Shakir Grand Prix, Perez won his first race, becoming Formula One's 110th race winner. He's the first Mexican to win a Formula One race for over 50 years. Took 190 races to get his first W. And he was actually considering retiring before he gets into 2021 with the Red Bull fam. So Red Bull this year has said that Perez has helped provide the quote unquote best team spirit they have ever had. And like, we know that Perez and Max, they worked well together. Some memorable moments from Checo last year, like I put number one is the Mexico GP, because
100%
phenomenal for Checo. First Mexican to podium in this home race, and just we all remember what his dad was like, Papa Perez, and like his son watching him on the podium. Oh, so cute. And also at the Abu Dhabi GP, like he held off Lewis so well, right? And he was literally given the nickname the Mexican Minister of Defense.
Yeah.
And then he got his win in Baku, of course. Like, what a race! Baku, weird as shit, but Perez did win it, and he was on a handful of like double podiums throughout the year. So I think like it was a very successful year for him. He was only number 11 on the F1 driver rankings after 2021 season, and I was like, I fucking put him as 4. I thought he did so good. Max would not have had maybe as much success as he did have if it was not for Checo.
Was he seriously 11?
Yeah, and we brought up before that like F1 put Lando as number 3, and we're both like, why is Lando 3? Like, it just seems like a very skewed ranking. But however, Checo is with Red Bull for the 2022 season, not announced if it'll go past that. He does have a quote that says like, I am here because I fully believe I can be a world champion. Like, and people are like, is he going to bring it to Lewis and Max? Can he bring it to Lewis and Max? I don't know. Kind of feels like they're in a league of their own, but like, I want to see someone try. And yeah.
I don't know. I think that the issue is that we know that the Red Bull is built for Max, and Checo did pick it up faster than Pierre Gasly, which I'm so excited for the next episode on Pierre Gasly, because I have done a deep dive. I have some hot takes there. Anyways, pay attention for next week. But I just don't know if he can win. But I think you also need to believe that you can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, you need to have the self-belief, because honestly no one else is going to believe you can if you don't.
I always say it's like you need to have the audacity to believe in yourself, because like you said,
and we know men have the fucking audacity, so
but I mean anything's possible. But I just think with also these, I don't know, with these young kids too coming up now, and the cars being a bit more of a level playing field, like, and also post 2023, like what does this even look like becomes a very big question,
right?
Where does he go? If we were to run through some hypotheticals here, he either stays at Red Bull. Mm-hmm. Maybe another one is he doesn't stay at Red Bull, but then where does he go? Mm-hmm. Where would he go? I don't know.
Well, okay, do they keep Lance Stroll on at Aston Martin? Because he's not been doing good. So if you get rid of Lance Stroll, you can bring Checo back. Checo and Sebastian would be fun.
Do you think his dad would ever get rid of him?
Not a chance. No,
not a chance in hell.
That's not going to happen. But I think it could work.
We'll talk about it more next week. But like Pierre, like where does if Pierre
He
leaves
slot in. Yeah.
AlphaTauri and goes to Red Bull, then there's a seat open at AlphaTauri. But do you want to go to a junior team that's like more of a development team than it is like, I don't know.
Especially after you just come out to say, I'm here to be world champion, and then
Yeah.
to go into the slower car.
Yeah. Is that even like, where do you go? I don't know where you go.
Does he take after Lewis? Like, does he take Lewis's spot in Mercedes? Honestly, I'm sorry. I don't think Checo has the loyalty to any of the like
No.
auto families. He'll go where there's a spot.
Yeah, and I think he should, because if he wants to just keep racing for the sake of racing, then you go where there's a spot. But I think in my brain, I think that when we talk about people ending their careers, which I know sounds more so sorry, but I do think Sebastian Vettel will end his career whenever he chooses to retire at Aston Martin. Like, I do think they'll keep him longer term.
Yeah.
Lewis will end his career at Mercedes. Valtteri will end his career at Alfa Romeo.
Will he?
I think he will.
Or will he go to Williams?
But then you're right. There's also Williams, I suppose. But do you think Checo would go to Williams if he opened up? Because I also don't think what's his face, like the one that we never talk about, Nicholas Latifi. I don't think Nicholas Latifi has that much time in Formula One. Like, I think he'll get the boot over Lance Stroll.
Probably. Yeah. I think though, like being on the top tier team like Red Bull, anything except this or Mercedes or Ferrari or McLaren is he can't go back to McLaren because apparently he didn't do very well there. And like Ferrari, did he burn a bridge there? So is it really just Red Bull and Mercedes?
Are his only options? I don't know. And also, like, Danny Rick is on a multi-year contract, but like if he doesn't bring it this year, then maybe the seat is open for 2023.
Yeah, but McLaren, like we know he didn't have a great time at McLaren, right?
I know, but new management, like who knows? It could be like something different. I don't know.
He would play second fiddle to Lando.
Yeah, you would have to be that sporting driver, which I think is fine if you go in knowing that. But I think if he just brings it next year, then the option to stay at Red Bull would extend by a year. But I think he would be just on yearly contracts because
that's so stressful. We saw what happened to Valtteri.
100%. Like, it's not the best, but I don't know what would work. I think for him, I'm just unsure of what that would look like for him if he was to, like, I just don't know where he'd go unless there's more teams that come in, but we know that's probably not till 2026 anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's just hope that this coming season he just brings it in the Red Bull and like really is competitive with Max himself. But that's also another thing. Like, how can he be world champ when they're not going to let
him pass Max
like ever?
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to happen.
Unless there's something like Christian Horner is telling him one thing and then we see it on Drive to Survive where he's like, yeah, Checo, like I fully believe he can be world champion. And then the next time you get Christian Horner in the room in the interview, he's like, he's not going to be world champion.
I hope he gets more wins, but yeah, I forgot that dynamic of like Red Bull really does have a number one driver, right? Like you're playing second fiddle to Max, and maybe that conversation changes though if you're really, really competitive, like we saw with Charles and Carlos, right? Like this last season, it got to the point where they have to be like, no, the boys are just gonna have to race themselves and like figure it out amongst themselves because yes, Carlos was supposed to be, obviously he didn't go in as a number two. We all just assumed, made the smart assumption he'd be number two, but then he held his own. So maybe if Checo starts like qualifying higher and all that kind of stuff, the conversation shifts to like, just let them race and see what happens.
Just let them race. Yeah, I guess it'd be very interesting. I'd be happy with that. I could get more behind Red Bull if Checo was fighting for
a title too,
just as much as Max was.
Yeah, and it would keep it interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Well, thank you for the deep dive on Sergio Perez.
You're welcome. I'm trying to remember, was there a situation this past season where George Russell and Checo were getting into like spouts? Because I remember like Sergio had something with Lando Norris on that one race and like they were just constantly bumping each other. And like, did that happen to George Russell?
I don't know.
Because like, I'm just trying to think of this like
a little bit of beef.
Like a foreshadow for what's to come.
The
Our
only
next
George
one.
Russell thing that rings to mind is him hitting Valtteri Bottas over the head with his gloves. And I was like, this is so uncalled for. And then the second thing tied to George is George, after Lewis lost, like tweeting all caps,
Oh,
like I was just like, yeah, dude, you freaking say it. You tell him how you feel.
like George is loyal. I
Yeah.
will give him that. He's very loyal to the family.
Yeah. So we'll see. But that's all we have this week, folks. Come back
Yep.
next week for, like I said, a deep dive on Pierre Gasly and his career. Definitely some opinions have formed with me doing some more research.
Is it good? Is it bad? Because you love Pierre, man.
I know. And let's dive into that a little bit. Why? I don't know. I don't know why I like him. But he's also an Aquarius, which is like typically not my it's not a thing. If you look,
Yeah, like you've never liked an Aquarius before.
never. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the accent. I don't know if it's the fact that he's like runs, is the president of Team Lewis Hamilton. Like he is the biggest Lewis Hamilton stan. Like I don't know what it is, but the episode won't be bad. It'll be like it'll highlight some of the great that he's done, but it also is going to be like just bring up some questions tied to like Red Bull and the way that they're structured. But also this conversation that we're having today right now about where can Sergio go, we're probably have the same one tied to Pierre because he's also in a tight spot. So stay tuned.
We shall see. But yeah, we hope you guys liked that episode. Let us know what you think. Thoughts, comments, feel free to DM us, rate us, but nothing too bad, please. It will really affect us.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Get Checkered. And
we have our website is up and running with at Get Check. It's www.getcheckered.com. There's no need for WordPress or nothing anymore.
Yeah, look at that. And you can go read. Actually, maybe I'll put this on Twitter. Nicole's.
Hey, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good time.
Nicole,
the Mexican GP.
A great blog post on the Mexican GP, but specifically why she loves Sergio Perez so much. So there's like a really good story there. So you can go check that out on our website. And then I don't know what else we have to say. Okay, you can also review our podcast. Like Caitlin said, don't be mean, we'll die. But you can review us on Apple Podcasts. And I know everyone is canceling their Spotify accounts right now. Why? But like go give us 5 stars on Spotify as well, and then go cancel your subscription.
Why is everyone canceling?
Okay, because did you not see this?
No,
it's like an after the episode version.
Yeah.
So people, basically Neil Young put out a it's me, Spotify, or Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan keeps having guests on that are like anti-vaxxers and there's no disclaimer and stuff like that. So he was like, I'm taking my entire discography off Spotify. And I was just like, damn, like he's doing the damn thing. Spotify did it. But Caitlin, they lost $4 billion in their share price after all this like crap's come out with Joe Rogan. So
oh shit.
And then he's not the only one. With him doing that, Joni Mitchell, also from that era of artists, she's taking her albums off of Spotify. Who else? Brene Brown, we love. She's not releasing any more podcast episodes because it's on Spotify as the host and Spotify's paying her to do it. So she's not doing that anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I think it's like, the US has an interesting freedom of speech thing, and I think you can talk about that. But I think that, I don't know, people have the right to also not be on these platforms if they don't want to. So that's fine. And then I think Spotify could easily fix this if they just added a disclaimer.
Yeah, that seems like a very easy fix, doesn't it?
Yeah, but they're not doing it. So yeah. Before you all, and with it, people are canceling their subscriptions because they're like, why is Spotify just like not doing this bare minimum thing? And their share price dropped though significantly, 4 billion with a B. It's crazy. So please, before you cancel your account, go get us 5 stars on Spotify. You can review us now on Spotify. That's a new thing that they added, I think, in the last few weeks. So yeah. And that's kind of it, folks. We'll see you next week. And
in the meantime,
stay checkered, friends. Bye, everyone.
It has a nice ring to it. Bye.